"We're too tired from your sister's trip to attend your wedding," Mom texted. I said, "Rest well," but they had no idea that I was getting married into a millionaire family. When they saw my wedding on TV, I got 85 calls. But I didn't pick up. My name is Mason. I'm 32, a mechanic at a small shop off Highway 19. The guy who can tell a serpentine belt is going bad by the way it whines when you turn the wheel. I smell like brake cleaner more than cologne. I keep cash in envelopes labeled rent, groceries, tools, and emergency. Do not touch. I'm the older brother. In our family, I'm the helper, the ride giver, the tire changer. Quiet, reliable, boring, unless a car won't start. My sister, Jenna, is the favorite. That's not petty, that's a fact. Our little star, Mom says. Dad calls her jet set. She posts airport videos with captions like, "Catch flights, not feelings," and then texts the family group to pick her up because Uber feels unsafe tonight. Guess who shows up? I grew up with my hands in engines and my head under other people's plans. If a cousin needed moving, I was the U-Haul. If Dad's mower died, I was the parts store. If Jenna forgot to pay a fee, I had a Venmo request at 1:13 a.m. titled Small Emergency. That's our family. Emergencies are always small when they're not yours. I met Tessa at the shop. She came in for an oil change and stayed to ask why her dashboard light felt judgy. She laughed at my explanation about sensors, thinking they're smarter than people. I liked that she listened. I liked that she brought me a ham sandwich on my longest day and didn't call it a love language. 1 year later, we had a date on a Tuesday night and she said, "I don't care about big weddings. I care about getting married to you." I said same. We set a quick date, courthouse, then a small reception at her aunt's restaurant. Simple, affordable, no drama. I texted my parents the plan with a photo of the courthouse steps. "Would love you there," I wrote. Mom replied 2 hours later. "We're too tired from Jenna's trip to attend your wedding. That flight from Bali took everything out of us." I stared at the screen in the break room while the microwave beeped like a heart monitor. I typed, "Rest well," because that's what I've always typed. I deleted the longer message. I sent the short one. Then I put my phone face down and went back to a pickup with a misfire. But the words burned in my pocket like a hot bolt. Too tired for my wedding. I didn't know it yet, but that text was the first crack. Not the only one. The thing about engines and families is the problem shows up long before the light turns on. We weren't poor growing up. We were don't talk about money people. That meant the rules were simple. If Dad paid, he was generous. If I paid, I was responsible. If Jenna paid, it was unfair to expect that of her because she's finding herself. Mom made it sound normal. "Mason's practical," she'd say, handing me a list. "Jenna's special." I was practical when I took the bus home from school to make my shift at the tire shop. Jenna was special when she needed a car for safety. Dad co-signed. Guess who changed her oil for free? I didn't keep score. I kept receipts. Literal ones. Folded, rubber banded, a stack that meant nothing to anyone but me. At 19, when my first beater died, I bought a '99 Civic with cash I'd saved from summers. Dad said, "Proud of you, son." 3 months later, Jenna called crying because her cute little Mini needed brakes and the dealership is robbing me. I drove over, fixed them in her apartment parking lot. She posted a selfie with me in the background and wrote, "Family is everything." She didn't tag me. When I turned 25, I asked Dad for a small loan to buy a better toolbox at auction. He said, "Bootstraps." I pulled them. The same month, Mom called. "Jenna's dream trip is Paris. We want to help her go." I chipped in $300 because we're a team. She brought me a keychain shaped like the Eiffel Tower. It broke in a week. That pattern stretched like a serpentine belt you keep pretending will make one more run. Dad had rules for me. Call ahead, be grateful, don't burden. He had rules for Jenna. Text whenever, we'll figure it out, she's delicate. The first time I pushed back, I was 28. Jenna had temporarily moved home and used my old room as a closet. She took my drill and lost the charger. I said, "Please put my stuff back where you found it." Mom called me controlling. Jenna cried and posted a quote about toxic energy. I went outside and tightened the loose lattice Dad kept promising to fix. Meanwhile, I was building a life that didn't look like one to them. I liked small, reliable things. A cheap coffee maker that doesn't quit. A couch from Craigslist that didn't sag. Evenings where I could hear the clock. I dated regular women who had real jobs and rent-due dates. Then Tessa walked in with a car that hummed and a smile with the same energy. We matched in the way you match wrenches to bolts. You don't have to force it. Tessa's family runs a glass company. Not glamorous, not flashy, just steady contracts and freakish attention to detail. Her dad, Victor, started on ladders and now signs paychecks. He's the kind of guy who can glance at a pane and quote the measurement to the eighth of an inch. He also says please to the kid sweeping the floor. When I met him, he asked me about torque specs, not my salary. He liked that I knew my way around rust. We kept our wedding small by choice. We didn't hide it. We just didn't make it a circus. Tessa said, I want people who clap for us, not for themselves. I said, Amen. I told my parents early. I expected weird, not cruel. Mom replied with the too tired text and a second one. Your sister just got back and we are exhausted helping her settle in. We'll take you two out sometime. Dad added, courthouse weddings aren't real weddings, son, but do what you need to do. I stared at that one a long time. I told Tessa. She didn't blink. I'm sorry, she said. Do you want to move the date? No, I said. I want to move my expectations. The millionaire part wasn't the point, and it wasn't mine. It was a corner of Tessa's world I didn't care about. Her aunt owns a sports network affiliate. The restaurant we used for the reception is a family favorite on that network's Local Legends show. They asked if they could film background ambience. We said fine. I thought it meant a cameraman with a sweater tied around his neck and a lens that made food look shinier. I didn't realize background ambience in her aunt's world is 5 cameras and a drone. The week of the wedding, Mom and Dad went silent except for a text about Jenna's jet lag is a monster. Jenna posted a boomerang of her nails under a neon sign. Self-care day. She didn't ask about my suit. The night before, Dad sent me a job he wanted done. Swing by in the morning and mount the TV I bought your mother. Should take 15 minutes. I typed, can't. Wedding. He wrote back, TV is for your mother. I didn't answer. I put my phone on airplane mode and folded my shirt with careful hands. My life felt like a car I'd tuned forever that someone else kept grabbing the wheel of. I put both hands back on it. At 10:03 p.m., a new message slipped through. Jenna. Proud of you, big bro. Can't make it. I'm wiped. But send pics. For exclamation points. 0 effort. I didn't sleep much. Not from nerves. From the hum of old patterns trying to turn back on. We got married on a clear Friday at 11 a.m. The judge was quick, funny, and looked like a grandma who could out-argue a senator. Tessa cried. I didn't, but my throat felt tight like a lug nut you don't want to strip. We walked out holding hands, and it felt like a car clearing a misfire. You know the sound when everything evens out? That. At the restaurant, her aunt hugged me and said, Welcome to the loud side of the family. The camera crew was professional and kind. They asked if we minded some shots of the toast and the cake. I looked at Tessa. She shrugged. Let them roll, she said. We were eating lemon ravioli when my phone buzzed on the table, Mom. Thinking of you, her text said. We're so drained. Jenna's jet lag is serious. Maybe Sunday we can celebrate lightly. Something in me snapped, but not loud. Clean. I typed, hope you rest well. Then the next ping hit. Dad, swing by tonight to mount the TV? I stared. Tessa saw my face. What? She asked soft. He wants me to come mount a TV. Tonight. Tessa blinked. On our wedding night. Yeah. I typed, no. Getting married. Please stop. I hit send. I put the phone face down like a lid on a pot. 15 minutes later, the producer asked if he could mic us for one quick congratulatory clip for the show's segment. No pressure, he said. We're highlighting local businesses. It's not about you two. But you're photogenic and happy, which helps. We did it. 30 seconds. We love this place, Tessa said. Feels like home. I said, the lasagna beats my mom's. Don't tell her. People laughed. The cameras hummed. Someone clinked a glass. It felt fine and small. Right after the clip, my phone lit up like a running board. The family group chat blew. Jenna, wait, are you on TV? Mom, why are there cameras at your wedding? Dad, is this a joke? I didn't answer. The show went live at 6 p.m. A quick segment. Our faces were on screen for maybe 20 seconds, smiling, clinking, Tessa's aunt in the background talking about community. Then the lower third flashed the restaurant name, the show's logo, and a shot of us kissing that made the entire room cheer. My phone started ringing like an alarm that doesn't snooze. Unknown number. Mom. Dad. Jenna. Aunt Lila. 85 calls by the time we cut cake. I counted because mechanics count things. I didn't pick up. Not once. The breaking point wasn't the TV or the calls. It was the realization that they only turned their heads toward me when a camera did. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and slid it into Tessa's purse. Dance with me? I asked. She grinned. Always. The morning after, we ate cold cake in bed and watched the segment replay online. The comments were nice. People loved the restaurant. Someone said we looked solid. I like that word. At 9:12 a.m., Mom texted, "We need to talk. We feel blindsided." At 9:14, "Are you marrying into money?" Jenna says it looked expensive. At 9:16, "Call us now." I set the phone face down again. By noon, there were voicemails. Mom crying, "How could you do this without us?" Dad angry, "You made us look bad." Jenna whining, "You embarrassed me." People are asking if I was there. I pressed play on none of them. Tessa poured coffee. We sat on the porch like we'd rented the whole day. Aunt Lila from my side texted something different. "I saw you on TV. You looked happy. Proud of you. Call me when you want." I replied with a heart. By late afternoon, Dad switched tactics. "We need to discuss finances," he wrote. "We assumed you'd help with Jenna's loans once you're elevated." Elevated like an elevator that he thought he could ride. I stared at that one and felt my chest go cold. There it was. The point. Not me. Not love. The ledger. I typed slowly. "Hi, Dad. We're not discussing money. My marriage doesn't change my obligations. I'm not responsible for Jenna's debts. We kept the wedding small by choice. If you and Mom want to be in our life, it won't be through invoices." He replied instantly, "Don't be ungrateful. Family supports each other." "Family doesn't mean subsidy," I wrote back. "Rest well." He sent a paragraph about respect and privilege and remember where you came from. I put the phone away. I went to the garage and tightened a loose hinge with a screwdriver because sometimes you need to fix a thing that will actually hold. On Monday, I went back to work for the morning shift. I like the normal. Oil, filters, a guy arguing with a coupon. Around 10:30, a black SUV pulled up. My parents stepped out like they were arriving at a premiere. "Mason," Mom said, breathy, stepping into the bay in shoes that hate concrete. "We're here to congratulate you." At work, I said. "We need to chat quick," Dad said, looking around like the shop was an insult. My boss, Ed, caught my eye and raised a brow. "You good?" he mouthed. "I got it," I said. We stood by the tire rack. Mom touched my arm too many times. "We're sorry we missed it," she said, all soft. "We were just so tired from Jenna's long-haul flight." "You understand. You texted me that," I said. I understood. Dad cleared his throat. "And now, congratulations. You've married into opportunity. Let's discuss how we can all move forward." "Move forward how?" I asked. He didn't blink. "Your sister's loans are crushing. Jenna can't thrive like this. And your mother and I have some house projects. A deck, the roof. We thought, given your situation, you could." "No," I said. Mom blinked. "No to which part?" "Yes," I said. "No." Dad's jaw ticked. "You're being cruel." "I'm being clear. We raised you better." "You raised me to fix things," I said. "You didn't raise me to be a donor." Mom's eyes got wet fast. "How could you embarrass us on television?" "You embarrassed yourselves with that text," I said calm. "You told me you were too tired for my wedding. Then you saw a camera and remembered me." Ed stepped closer, wiping his hands. "Folks, we're in a working area. If you need to argue, maybe take it outside." "We're not arguing," Dad said, smiling a fake smile. "We're having a family discussion." "It's done," I said. "I'm not your fixer. I'm not Jenna's ATM. I'm your son when you remember I'm a person." Dad tried one more angle. "What would it cost to make this right?" I laughed once short. "It's free. You apologize. You stop using me. You stop assuming my wife's life is my wallet. You show up when there's no camera." Mom flinched at apologize like it was a swear. "We can't rewrite history, Mason." "I don't want to rewrite," I said. "I want a boundary." They left in a cloud of expensive cologne and disappointment. Ed handed me a Gatorade. "Families," he said. I nodded. That week, the calls kept coming. 85 turned into 92. I blocked numbers like plugging leaks. Jenna posted a story with the caption, "When your brother thinks he's too good for you." She tagged no one and everyone knew. I wrote a message and pinned it in my head. a script so I wouldn't get dragged back into the old tone. We love you. We won't discuss money. We won't take on Jenna's debt. We won't respond to guilt. We're available for coffee on Sundays at 2 p.m. at the diner. If you insult my wife or me, the visit ends. Mason. I sent it to mom and dad in one group text. Three dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared. Mom. This is hurtful. Me. It's helpful. Dad. You'll regret this. Me, no. Tessa's family didn't make speeches or power moves. Victor shook my hand harder and said, "Proud you stood firm." Tessa's aunt put extra garlic knots in a bag and said, "For boundaries." At Sunday dinner, no one mentioned TV. They asked if my ratchet set needed replacing. I didn't cry, but my eyes did that sting thing. 2 weeks later, Jenna texted directly for the first time since the wedding. "Can you co-sign a small loan? It's just $12K. I'll pay it so fast." I typed, "No," she wrote. "You've changed." I wrote, "Yes." She sent, "Mom says you're being manipulated." I wrote, "By who?" "Self-respect." She left me on read. Mom tried holidays next. "Thanksgiving will be at ours," she texted. "We expect you to. Dress nice." I replied, "We'll be at the diner at 2 p.m. If you want to join, we'd like that." She wrote back, "Tradition matters." I said, "So do people." We went to the diner. We ordered the special, turkey, watery gravy, cranberries from a can, and it tasted like relief. At 2:30, Aunt Lila slid into the booth with wind in her hair. "I chose people," she said, and stole one of my fries. I wanted to hug the whole cheap vinyl seat. In December, a letter came addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Mason. Inside, an invoice printed like a wedding invitation, family obligations, December, with bullet points. Jenna's student loan minimum, $400. Mom and dad's roof, $600. Christmas fund, $300. Total due, $1,300. No joke, no note, just a due date. I took a photo. I sent it to dad with my script attached. Then I put the letter through the shredder, a slow, satisfying noise like a stubborn bolt finally turning. A week later, Mom called from a new number. "You're really doing this," she said, quiet. "Yes," I said. "We're married. We're a unit. We help where we choose, not where we're coerced." She sniffed. "Your sister is delicate. Then she needs care," I said. "Not a cosigner. Your father won't forgive you for this." "He doesn't have to," I said. "He has to respect it." She hung up. I went out to the garage and replaced the cracked hose on my compressor. The hiss stopped. The silence felt like a new kind of air. Spring came like a slow start engine that finally catches. The calls thinned. The guilt text shrank from paragraphs to dots to nothing. Jenna posted less about trips and more about hustle, which I decided not to decode. My parents tried one more stunt, a group message titled "Family Meeting," location set to their house, time mandatory. I replied with the script, "We do coffee at 2 p.m., diner." They didn't show. On a Tuesday, Mom asked to meet alone. We sat at the diner because I'm consistent if nothing else. She looked tired, not from jet lag, just from the weight of pushing something that wouldn't move. "I miss you," she said. "I'm here," I said. "We were wrong not to come to your wedding," she said, eyes on the table. "I thought you'd forgive like you always do." I nodded. "I forgive," I said. "I also changed the rules." She took a breath. "Your father won't apologize." "I figured," I said. "He doesn't need to say sorry to make this work. He needs to stop sending invoices." She smiled without humor. "That was his idea." "I know." We sat quiet a minute. The waitress refilled our coffee without asking, the way people do when they've decided you're theirs. "Jenna's angry with you," Mom said. "She's angry at gravity, too," I said. "It keeps her from floating." "I'm not moving. You've become hard. I've become clear." I leaned forward. "This isn't punishment. It's protection. For me. For Tessa. For the family I'm building that doesn't run on debt." Mom nodded once slow. "If we come to the diner next Sunday, would you stay?" "I'll be there at 2, I said. They came. They were late, but they came. Dad shook my hand like it was a test. I let mine be steady. We ordered meatloaf and mashed potatoes. No one mentioned money. Jenna didn't show. We talked about the weather, the shop, the cracked sidewalk outside their house that I didn't offer to fix. At the end, Mom asked to see a photo of our wedding day. I showed her one. She touched the screen with a fingertip like she was checking if the glass was real. On the way out, Dad said, awkward, "Heard you on TV." I said, we were background. He said, looked nice. It was almost a compliment. I treated it like one. At home, I took the emergency do not touch envelope from the drawer. It had more in it than it used to, not because of anyone's money, but because of breathing room. I added a 20. I wrote on the envelope, Boundaries Fund. I put it back. People romanticize forgiveness like it's fireworks. Mine was a torque wrench. Click. Tight enough. No more. I'm married now. My house has 2 toothbrushes and a calendar with only our plans on it. If my parents fit in the squares, they will be welcomed. If they try to write bills over the days, the pen won't work. Here's the moral, simple, no garnish. I won't be punished for choosing myself. I won't finance another adult's fantasy. I won't confuse noise for love or guilt for guidance. I'll take calls when they come without strings. I'll say yes when it's help, no when it's harvest. If you send me an invoice labeled family, it goes through the shredder. Mom texted last Sunday. Diner at 2? I typed, see you there. She added, we're not bringing Jenna this time. She's still adjusting. I wrote, okay. Then I put my phone down and went outside to change the oil in my neighbor's car because he's a nice guy and he brings over ribs sometimes. And this is the kind of economy I prefer. Favor for favor, no ledger, no threats. Tessa came out with a lemonade and said, how's the engine? Running clean, I said. She kissed my cheek. So are you. I smiled, grease and all. The old life is still in the rear view, small as a car you've passed. The road ahead looks simple. Drive. Stop for people who wave with open hands, not open wallets. Keep the tank half full. Keep the boundaries tight. This isn't revenge. This is closure. And if a camera ever points at us again, I hope it catches only this. 2 people who chose quiet over noise, clarity over debt, and a life that runs, finally, like it should.